it on the level. Keep it on the level. I'm climbing up the.
What's going on, Nasteey Nation? It's Nasteey, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a coaching session. However, we're actually going to be coaching myself. This is a game that I played in my Master Promos the other day. Spoiler alert, I did go on to lose this game. I went on to win my promos overall, so I get to end the season Masters. That's pretty cool. This game, I ended up going 0-0-16. I played this game on stream, and I remember that as soon as this game ended, I kept talking to the chat and saying, I don't think I could have done anything different that, guys. I really think I played as best as I could. But the thing is I'm not a perfect player, so I know that there's got to be some mistakes that I made in this game. And I always tell people that if you want to improve, if you want to get better at the game, a really easy way to do that is just go back and watch your own games, and you might surprise yourself, and you might find yourself seeing some mistakes that you made that you just didn't see in the moment. So that's going to be the game plan today. I'm going to try to improve, try to figure out what I did wrong, what I could have done differently to win this game, because there's got to be some things in there. For those of you guys who are interested in a coaching session for yourself, if you want a VOD review, which is something like what you're seing right here, I offer these for $10. I also offer one-on-one coaching sessions with in a Discord call with you guys. So one-on-one coaching sessions are $30. If you're interested in any of this, you should be able to find my information down in the description below. You can find me on Discord. You can find me on Twitter. You can also find my email down there. With all that being said, though, we are going to hop into this game and, again, just try to figure out what I could have done differently. If you do go on to enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Without further ado, though, I will see you guys in the lane phase. Alright, so as we find ourselves in the lane phase, what can we talk about right now? Well, first off, the thing about this lane is Nautilus actually, for the most part at least, kind of hard counters Nami. Hard engage supports as a whole can hard counter Nami because she's a very squishy champion. At the same time, though, most hard engage supports, for example, Leona, for example, Thresh, Alistar, these champions have a fairly weak level 1. So as you'll notice already, I'm standing up towards the front of my minion wave because I'm looking to play aggressive. I'm looking to poke them down and take advantage of the level 1. We go for a little trade right there. Because of my heal, I'm able to out-sustain the poke. I get a little bit of damage on Ezreal. Everything's going good so far. I'm also making sure that I'm autoing the wave because I want to make sure that not only am I poking them down, but I'm also getting prepared for level 2 power spike. So this entire time so far that I've been in the lane phase, I'm being super active. I'm always trying to do something. If I'm not harassing the Ezreal or the Nautilus, I'm making sure that I'm harassing the mini wave to get level 2. Let's make sure that I do walk up here. Okay, so I make a mistake right here actually. Let me rewind real quick so we can just go over that again. So this is my first mistake of the game. Even though it's not going to cost us anything huge, it doesn't actually cost us like a death or anything like that. It is a mistake because it's something that I did wrong that could have actually benefited us a lot. So like I was saying, I was trying to focus my entire level 1 on either harassing them or pushing in the wave so that I can get level 2. And we do get the level 2 power spike. We get exactly what we want. It's going to be after this minion right here, and after this minion right here, we should get level 2. But my mistake is I walk up way too early. I was expecting to hit level 2 right here. Probably take my Q or my E. In a situation like this, because we get the level 2 so far ahead of them, I'm probably expecting to level up my Q right here, and then I can go in on them. The problem is I don't hit level 2, and also if you look at the position of my ADC, even if I do get an engage off right here, we're not going to get anything out of it because of how far my ADC is. So nothing terrible happens, like we don't lose a trade super hard or anything, but I end up getting hooked. I didn't have my Q in time. When I do use my Q, it's just not a good time. I walked up way too soon. So again, not something that's going to hurt us right away, but it's an opportunity that I missed to kind of put ourselves in a good position to win this lane. So one thing that I wanted to make sure I did a good job of in this lane phase is always make sure that I have enough mana for a full combo. In order to be able to use all my abilities. And right there, as you saw, I was able to pick off the Ezreal when he's going for kind of an overextended last hit on a minion. So that is really good. Right afterwards, though, I'm making a big mistake here. Actually, Ash and I are both making a big mistake. The first mistake that we made is we didn't push in the wave right away. Right after we got the kill on the Ezreal, we gave him time to TP back to base. And now we're still overstaying. We're fighting. Even though we're going to get close to getting a kill in the Nautilus here, we're still overstaying, and what that does is it allows the enemy Kayn to get down here. I believe, if I remember correctly, that I do survive this fight, and Ashe almost survives, but at the same time, this situation should have never happened. Even though they waste a lot of summoner spells and stuff like that in order to get that kill, we should have never been in that position. So we just got a really big early game lead. We got a kill on the Ezreal, we blew a bunch of summoners, but we made the mistake of not pushing in the wave. So even though you can look at my KDA right now and say, wow, I'm playing good, I made a big mistake right there. Overstayed, allowed them to get back to the game. So that's a big mistake right there, actually, that I didn't really notice when I was initially playing this game out. I figured right now would actually be a pretty good time to pause the game and mention another mistake that I made right here. We are clearly pushing this into tower. We are far on their side of the lane, and we have 0 wards down right now. I do have a ward up. My ADC does not have a ward up, so if we were to get ganked right now, this would definitely be on me. I could definitely also go put a ward down right now, and my Ashe would not be in any danger of being engaged on. She has this huge minion wave right now that she could hide behind. The chances of them engaging on her with this big minion wave here is very unlikely, and the thought of them being successful without dying to minions is also very unlikely. So this is a good moment in time where I could have went down and put a ward. I don't actually remember what happens next if we get ganked. That's definitely going to be on me. If not, then I got kind of lucky. But that's another mistake that I could probably point out right there. So another mistake that I want to point out real quick, and I'll actually let this play out as we describe this, but right now, as you're seeing, the lane is kind of evening out for the first time all game, but for the most part, we've been shoved up into their tower. The thing is, though, even while shoved into their tower, we weren't able to get any plates. So this whole time, even though we're in a position to be a lane bully, we're in a position to chunk them down, potentially get some kills, proc a lot of our spell thieves, we're going even in kills at the same time. We're not getting any plates. So I think one thing that I could have done differently, and this thing also probably would have allowed us to avoid ganks from Kayn like that, is if I get deeper vision. If I went and got deeper vision, we would have had potential to not only avoid would have had more potential to avoid ganks like that one right there, but with deep vision we'll also see Kayn coming from a lot further away, and it allows us to play more comfortable, and it allows us to walk all the way up to the tower and get more plates. So this is definitely a lane that I feel like we should have won, and I don't think that we're necessarily losing it right now, but going even in a lane that you should have won is in a way losing, and we're not getting enough gold in a lane where we should be getting a lot of gold. So that's a mistake that we made in this game, not going for enough plates and not setting ourselves up to avoid ganks and be in a position to actually get more plates. Another thing that I'm kind of disappointed I didn't do more of this game is roaming around the map. Our mid laner has been struggling a little bit this game, but Veigar has very, very simple CC that allows it to be really easy actually for him to set up for ganks or roams from a support. So that's one thing that I could have actually helped him out a lot in this game. The Zoe in this game does end up getting super fed, and maybe I could have calmed that down had I spent more time roaming around the map. For example, right now, Nautilus isn't in the bot lane because we actually just picked up a kill on him. So when we picked up that kill, I could have left the ADCs down in the bot lane to maybe just farm with each other, and I could have roamed over to the mid lane and maybe done something there. Instead, I kind of just sit in the bot lane, and I don't really accomplish a whole lot. Sure, we get a plate, but I think Ashe maybe could have got that by herself. Another mistake that I'm making right here is roaming when I think that the roam is kind of pointless at this point. Veigar has already been dead for a few seconds by this point. I don't see myself accomplishing all too much. On top of that, I waste my R on a Zoe who clearly has an extra flash up. So again, we're in a position to win the bot lane, and I make a really bad roam right there, which makes it so that I'm spending less time in a bot lane in which I can punish down the enemy. So again, it's just... When I was playing this game, when I saw my KDA of 0-0-16 at the end of the game, I thought I was playing perfectly, but clearly making a lot of mistakes so far. And there's another one right there, actually, where I don't layer the CC properly. I tried to go, or I waited a little bit too long to use my Q right there. So just little things are adding up. And I think that there's obviously so far a lot of things that I could have done differently. And as this game goes on, I'm sure we'll see a lot more mistakes that I can definitely keep in mind and try to improve on in my future games. Alright, so right here, we're going to go ahead and point out yet another mistake that we make. And this is kind of just me playing lazy, I suppose. So right here, you'll see we push in the wave, we want to recall, that's all perfect. But what do? We both make a mistake of recalling right here. And they're just going to be able to very easily finish off that wave and cancel our recalls. I believe the reason we're recalling right here is because we have a decent amount of gold. Looks like Ashe has 1,400, I have 700. So this is a lot of time that we're wasting right now. We want to go back, we want to push, or we want to be able to cash in our gold, get back to lane, and punish them more. Because, you know, not to sound like a broken record here, but this is a lane that we want to be, you know, playing aggressive in and trying to win the lane. Instead, we end up overstaying instead of recalling. Now we're burning both sums on the Ashe. We both have to, or not both of us, but I have to burn my ult. And once again, we're just gonna, I'll go ahead and fast forward this here. it's a continuous loop of us overstaying and overstaying and overstaying. Instead of just cashing in our gold, getting back to lane, and continuing to snowball and punish them in this lane phase. So I think one thing that we definitely messed up here is we greeted for waves. We never wanted to recall when there was a wave there, because we figured that we'd just be missing out on the gold from the wave and the XP from the wave, but it's not worth it. You know, we can afford to lose one wave of gold and XP if that means we can recall, cash in our gold, and get back to lane quicker, and be back in a position to punish down this lane. So just another mistake I want to point out real quick, and I'll go ahead and fast forward, and you can see that it ends up dragging out for like a few minutes. Even right here when we're under tower, it's just still a little too greedy. I think it's been probably about 2 minutes now where I'm trying to recall. I eventually get my recall off, but that was about 2 minutes that I just completely wasted right there. So even though I said that the main reason you want to look back at your own games in order to improve is to point out things you did wrong, at the same time it's always good to point out things you did right though. That way you know what you should be doing more of. That was a good little combo right there. And that's something I want to keep in mind in future games, that sometimes it's a lot easier to try to lead with a QR combo rather than an RQ combo. I feel like it just layers it a lot easier. And you saw there, even Ezreal tried to E away from the combo. He wasn't successful in doing so. So following right after that last fight, we roam over to like the bot side jungle to hop in this fight. And the mistake that my whole team makes here is we go for a fight that honestly we just shouldn't be fighting in. So I was bot side when this fight initially broke out, and our GP is in the top side of the map with no ulti. So this was essentially a 4v3 at the start of it in favor of the enemy team, and then when I do eventually join it, it's too late. So even though it makes for a 4v4, it's simply too late. So this is a fight that instead of me running over and trying to join, I should have been aware of the situation. I should have been aware that it was a 4v3, that I was low, that I had just, you know, blown everything on an Ezreal, that we have GP top. This is something that instead of joining, I should have been actively trying to ping my team away from. So even though at the end of the day, this isn't a mistake that I necessarily made myself, I was the one that initiated that fight, I should still be aware, and I could at least attempt to, you know, try to inform my team to back off there. Maybe they listen, maybe they don't, but at least I got to give that some kind of effort, and maybe just kind of hope for the best. Another mistake that I make right here is I actually think this was a perfect opportunity to go for a Rift Herald. The Zoe just now came back alive. We had 3 or 4 people in the top side of the map just about 10 or 20 seconds ago. It was a perfect opportunity to get this Rift Herald. And I don't remember this game perfectly. I don't remember if nobody ends up getting the Rift Herald or if the enemy team ends up getting the Rift Herald. But either way, this was a perfect opportunity for us to go take it. So this isn't something that necessarily is my fault, but it's a shot call that I could have made. That would have put our team in a much better position. Maybe we take that Rift Herald. This mid lane tower is almost gone, so maybe we were able to group mid after taking Rift, take down this tower, then use Rift on this tower. That sets up a lot of the map for us. You know, as soon as you get these 2 towers, the map opens up quite a bit. So that's a shot call that I could have made. That would have put our team in a much better position. Instead, I'm not controlling my team well enough, and they end up going bot, and a bunch of people end up dying. I don't know what ends up happening up here. But yeah, the map is kind of just all over the place. My teammates are now all over the place. There's no synergy. There's no coordination. When I very easily could have called for that play, and maybe this game goes entirely different. Now there is one thing I could have done slightly different right here. I don't know how much of a difference it would have made, but I kind of tried to force an RQ combo onto the Zoe right there. Instead of doing that, I probably should have realized that my Q had no chance of hitting Zoe. Instead, I used my Q on Ezreal. That just would have made it a little bit easier to kill the Ezreal. It doesn't make a big difference at the end of the day because we're able to chase down both of them anyways. But just some little things like that can be a big difference maker. In other situations in the game, again, right here, it didn't make a huge difference. But I shouldn't always try to force these CC combos. If I can land the R, that doesn't mean that I can always land the Q, so I got to keep that in mind and not try to force things in the same way, other way around, vice versa. So this fight I remember pretty well, actually. I remember it was super tragic because even though the fight did go in our favor, I didn't have my ultimate. So I think overall we played that just about as well as we could have. I landed like a 2-man bubble right there. Positioning was a little off for the most part, but my R, if it was just up a little bit sooner, then maybe we win that fight a little bit harder. But overall, that was another good thing. I just wanted to point out right there, a good team fight. Again, even when you're looking back at your replays to try to figure out what you did wrong, it's always good to point out the things you did right. So at this point in time, the enemy team is on Baron, and we are in no position to follow up, so we shouldn't be anywhere near here. Trying to get vision doesn't accomplish anything. Just being in this position in our jungle actually doesn't accomplish anything at all. I don't remember how this fight ends up playing out, but we probably shouldn't have been here in the first place. If we end up winning the fight, cool. But I think our best bet here was actually to just go tower, or turtle under our tower. Kind of just wait for them to come to us. Ended up playing out in our favor anyways, but I think a lot of things could have gone very wrong. We could have lost the game right there, actually, if we just force a fight for no reason and we get picked in the jungle. So it worked out, but I don't think that was the right play. So we need to keep that in mind in future games, that, you know, try to recognize better when the Baron is gone and when there's actually an attempt to steal. In a situation like that, Baron was gone, just kind of let it be, and go back to base was probably the right call. Alright, so we were just now able to pick up a pick on the rise, and right after that, we think that it's probably a good idea to 4v5. And in theory, it is a good time to 4v5, but this engage was really, really bad. This is actually pretty much entirely my fault. So what happens is this GP ult gets dropped right here, and that to me was a sign that we were engaging. However, I should have recognized that this ulti right here was super bad, and we weren't going to benefit from this ulti whatsoever. So instead of just, you know, kind of looking at it as, alright, that's a bad GP ulti, it's okay, we'll just wait for the next one, it's still a 4v5, there's no harm, no foul there. Instead, I force. So I use my ulti right here, we don't get anything out of it. Now we're down 2 ultis instead of 1, a fight breaks out, it goes horribly wrong because, again, we just lost 2 huge ultis, and I believe we essentially lose the game off of that. I'm going to end up doing this long run back to base. When I do eventually get there, the game's pretty much over. So again, a little mistake that I did right there. Didn't realize that when I was playing the game. But it definitely cost us that team fight that is going to lead to them eventually losing the game because they're just going to TP back to base. They have all 5 people. I'm just a Nami in a situation like this. I can't kill them. All I could do is just try to land a bubble, try to buff up my teammates and see if they can go get them. So at the end of the day, I believe they end the game in just a few seconds here. I finished the game 0-0-16, I believe. Yeah, just hit 0-0-16 right there. And again, at the end of this game, I remember I kept saying to my Twitch chat that there's nothing I could have possibly done different this game. But very clearly looking back at it, there's quite a few things that I could have done differently. Anyways, this is my first time I've ever done something like this before, going back and watching my own game and recording it. I do this thing, I usually do this on my own, don't really record it, don't put it on YouTube, just to try to improve and get a little bit better at the game. But if you'd like to see more stuff like this, where I coach myself, maybe I coach another streamer, maybe I coach another YouTuber, maybe I coach some of you guys, again, coaching info down in the description below. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of stuff, though. I definitely need some feedback, though. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Again, be sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. That will do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching to the end. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
I could do this all day, I could do this all night, all month, all year, for my whole entire life. Who you know got a home, but seen to live on the road, looking like a black gypsy in a caravan.